Welcome to the Fantasy Baseball Hitting Planner for week number 7. I'm Amber Wilson, and joining me is senior fantasy baseball writer David Gonos. And David, you recently wrote an article about the hitting stats of the first 5 weeks of the season, comparing the first 5 weeks of this season to the last 3 seasons, and one name jumped out at you in Vlad Guerrero, because at this point, he's normally off to a very hot start.
Well, the Angels are actually off to a great start. It's Vlad that's struggling a little bit. It's usually the opposite way. Usually, the past few seasons, they've had trouble getting people on base for him to knock in. He's struggling a little bit. Don't worry about him. He's going to be fine. Be careful people trying to make low ball trade offers, though. You want to hold on to him. He was your first or second round pick, most likely. Hold on to him unless you get a great package in return. You
mentioned the Angels are a good hitting team this season so far. So looking at our starts and sits, you're going to see a few Angels names on these lists here. Well, let's start behind the plate. Mike Napoli, he's a start. Jeff Mathis, he's a sit for you this week.
Yeah, they're both sharing starts for the Angels right now. Mathis is dealing with the flu, so that's another reason why I have him on the sit side. But he hasn't been hitting really well at the plate either. He has been getting more starts than Napoli, but Napoli has 4 home runs in his past 8 hits. He has decent power, especially for a catcher. Keep him in your lineup. Mathis is the one I'd sit for now.
Okay, looking at the first base position, Kevin Youkilis is your start. Power surge lately, facing the O's and the Brewers this week. And Casey Kochman is your sit.
Casey Kochman, he hasn't homered in his past 12 games, and he's actually also dealing with a groin injury, so he's someone you want to be aware of. He's a top 10 to top 15 first baseman right now, but I'd reserve him.
Okay, taking a look at second base, Placido Polanco is your start this week. Nick Punto is your sit. He had a great week, but he's actually battling a hamstring injury right now.
Yeah, it's Placido Polanco, though, for the Tigers. They started off slow, and now, right now, in the past 2 weeks, 23 hits. He leads the majors. Get him into your lineup.
Okay, at shortstop, Eric Ibar is your start this week. 7 RBI in the past couple weeks. Rank him 3rd at that position. Edgar Renteria, your sit.
Yeah, as good as Placido Polanco is playing is at how bad Renteria is playing right now. The infield mates, Renteria is hitting just about $160 over the past 2 weeks, so he's somebody, if you have a better alternative, get him in there.
Okay, taking a look at your third base position, Scott Rowland is your start this week. Casey Blake, your sit. He's back to his struggling ways once again.
Yeah, now Rowland, he's got 7 road games this week, which is normally something I would, cautious of some hitters, but Rowland's going back to Philly. This is where, this is his old stomping grounds. He had some of his best seasons here, not at Citizens Bank Park, but it's even a better hitting park right now for him.
Okay, taking a look at the outfield position, David DeJesus is your start, and Nick Swisher is your sit.
Yeah, Swisher's been struggling. He's at about 200 over the past couple weeks, and he's coming up against 3 pitchers that he's been batting under 200 against over his career. David DeJesus, he's been on fire, actually getting a lot of runs batted in as well, but that's not going to last for very long, but use him now while he's hot.
All right, we have to take a quick break, but when we come back, we're going to take a look at the National League, so don't go anywhere. Welcome back to the show. And David, before we jump into your starts and sits this week, let's talk about the Pirates, because here's a team that caught your eye, and not because they're battling the Reds to get out of the cellar, but because of their run production, 5th in the National League in runs scored, just over 5 per game. In fact, that's better than their division leader, the Redbirds.
Yeah, going into the season, pretty much everyone was thinking about Jason Bay maybe as one of the top fantasy hitters on that team. Maybe Ryan Domit, somebody to watch as a catcher-eligible player. But here's Nate McLouth, Xavier Nady, both surprised in the first couple weeks, came out real strong. And now we're talking about Jose Bautista, 9 RBIs in the past couple weeks, which is higher than almost all of the third basemen.
Which is exactly where we're going to start on our starts and sits list with Jose Bautista at the third base position. Of course, as your start this week, Bill Hall as your sit, just 3 hits so far this month. At catcher, Chris Iannetta is your start this week, and Jason Kendall is your sit. Kendall is back to his slap-hitting, low batting average ways.
Yeah, now, Chris Iannetta, over the past couple weeks, there's only 3 catchers that have outperformed him. Giovanni Soto, who's leading the NL rookies right now for that race, Joe Mauer, and Russell Martin. That's pretty good company for someone like Iannetta, who's getting a lot of playing time in Colorado now.
Absolutely. Let's take a look at the first base position. Joey Votto is your start. Mike Jacobs is your sit. A strange quadriceps could cost a slugger in Week 7. Speaking about Jacobs.
Yeah, now Votto, everybody saw what he could do in one game. This was on Wednesday when he hit 3 home runs for the Reds. you're not going to see that often, but you're going to see that type of power for the rest of the season. He's a rookie, he's inconsistent, but he can get you some RBIs.
All right, taking a look at the second base position, Kaz Matsui is your start this week. Clint Barmes is your sit, 6 games this week, 3 at Arizona for that guy.
Yeah, now going back to Matsui, along with Michael Bourne, the Astros suddenly have these 2 speedy table setters. Manager Cecil Cooper is going out of his way to get some men to second base. He's even using Lance Berkman. He has 6 steals this season. He's only 3 away from his career high. Make sure you get those Astros in their lineups. They're going to get a lot of stolen bases and a lot of runs scored.
Okay, taking a look at the shortstop position, Felipe Lopez is your start this week, still hitting well, 7 total games this week, and Eric Bruntlett is your sit.
You know, Bruntlett's been playing really well. Unfortunately, Jimmy Rollins is coming back this weekend, so Bruntlett's going to be out of a job, so make sure you're aware of that when you're filling out your lineups.
Okay, taking a look at outfield, Scott Podsednik is your start this week. Reed Johnson is your sit. Johnson's batting under 200 over the past 40 at-bats for the Cubbies.
And Podsednik, Scotty Poe, he's starting to see more at-bats for Colorado. He has a lot of speed, 6 steals already this season in limited time, so he's someone to consider in rotisserie play, definitely.
All right, well, thank you for all of your advice on our hitters this week, and that'll do it for us for now. Keep your mouths right here at CBSSports.com for everything you need to know in the world of sports. And if you missed anything here today, stop, refresh, and rewatch. For David Gonos, I'm Amber Wilson. Good luck with your lineups.